Hello everyone, I am Dr. Siddharth Mani, Consultant Interventional Cardiologist at R.N. Tagore Hospital, Mukundapur, Kolkata. On the occasion of World Heart Day, I would like to share some of my experiences and give you a brief overview regarding the different types of cardiac diseases and how to prevent them. Now, as you all know that India is gradually becoming the cardiovascular disease capital of the world, and it is becoming almost #1 in the terms of heart attack and other atherosclerotic cardiovascular diseases. So it's very important for all of you to know regarding the different types of ailments that you can have from the cardiological aspect, and to know about the disease in a bit summarized way and how to prevent them would be helpful to prevent such to reduce the morbidity and mortality burden of such diseases. So see, our heart is a muscular organ which continuously pumps, and the normal heart rate is around 70 to 80 per minute. So our heart is continuously pumping like this. It is a non-stop action which is going on, and this is done by the cardiac muscles. And in this in the entire heart, there are 4 chambers, and all the 4 chambers are guarded from one another by different valves. From these 4 chambers, the main 2 chambers, the left and the right ventricle, they are giving rise to 2 important blood vessels. One is pulmonary artery, which is carrying blood to the lungs. Another is aorta, which is carrying blood to the entire body. Now, this junction between the ventricle and arteries are also guarded by valves. So what you come to know is it is a muscular organ with 4 chambers and 4 important valves. And these muscles are getting their blood supply from 3 coronary arteries, 2 on the left side and 1 on the right side, which are the left and right coronary arteries. And along with this, there is an electrical system, an electrical conduction system inside our heart, which is carrying the electrical impulse. I mean to say there is a continuous flow of electric current in the heart musculature, and that is ultimately leading to the contraction. So whenever there is an electrical spark, the heart is contracting. So now you can have diseases from each of these different aspects. Suppose you can have disease of the muscles. That means the cardiac muscles are getting weaker and it is ineffectively pumping. That is, in spite of doing like this, they are pumping like this. So you can say the force has reduced. It should be like this, but it is doing like this. And that is what is measured by ejection fraction, and we call it is a heart failure situation. Now, there are different treatments. I will not go into the details of those things. I am just trying to give you an understanding of what is heart failure. On the next aspect, there is coronary artery disease, which in layman term we call heart attack. What is a heart attack? I said there are 3 coronary arteries which is supplying blood to the muscles. Now, if you have a block in the coronary artery due to deposition of calcium, cholesterol, or other dead cell particles, that can block your coronary line, blood flow line, just like your water basin pipe gets clogged with dust and food particles. Similar thing happens. The blood lines, they get clogged with calcium, cholesterol, and so many things. Now, that gives rise to a heart attack. Whenever an artery is blocked, the muscles are not getting blood and the muscles are dying. So this is another aspect. The heart failure I discussed, the heart attack I discussed. Now you can have disease of the heart valves. The valves may be leaking. The valves may be tight, that is, they are not opening. So a valve should open like this, but it is opening like this. It is not fully opening. So when the valve is not opening, the blood cannot flow from one chamber to another. So that can lead to valve problems. That can be cured by balloon surgeries, open heart valve replacements. So there are different options. And the last aspect is the electrical rhythm, as I said. So there can be arrhythmias. The heart rate may increase, the heart rate may decrease, the heart rate may be abnormal, irregular, and sometimes they need pacemakers, sometimes they need some other therapeutic modalities like the electrophysiological studies, the radio frequency ablation, AICD, and so. So you got an overview of what are the different types of diseases. Now these diseases can increase due to presence of other risk factors like hypertension, high blood sugar, high blood cholesterol, smoking, alcoholism, stress obviously is an important factor, obesity, sedentary lifestyle, your bad food habits. So all these can ultimately increase your risk of heart attack, can increase your risk of heart failure. Whenever there is a heart attack, the risk of arrhythmias increases. Whenever there is a heart attack, the heart failure increases. So they are more or less interlinked. Whenever there is a heart failure, some of your valves may become dysfunctional. So one disease can lead to another type of heart disease, and ultimately they form a comprehensive involvement of the entire cardiac system. And sometimes with cardiac involvement, we also get renal involvement. The kidneys get affected, the liver get congested because the heart is not pumping. The blood is going to the liver and making it a congested liver situation. The blood is not flowing to the kidneys, leading to kidney failure. The blood is getting congested in the lungs, giving rise to pulmonary edema. So there are different terminologies, different nomenclatures. You can come across them when you visit your doctor. Now the thing is what to do. See, the first thing you should do is do not neglect your symptoms, because symptoms can be very erratic also. Symptoms can be very premature also. Suppose that a 20-year-old boy can have a chest pain, although 99% of such cases will be non-cardiac, but 1% or 2% can be cardiac, because we really find heart attacks in youngs like 20 or 25 years of age. Most of them, they have some other genetic issues, or they are smokers, very early young age smokers, or they have a diabetes, young onset diabetes. So often there are certain risk factors. They have a strong family history very often. So what I mean to say is, do not neglect a chest pain, even if it is occurring in a young. Do not neglect a giddiness or a blackout, because many a times such blackouts are indications of heart arrhythmias, which will need a pacemaker. So we have a tendency to ignore such symptoms, and we think that chest pain is likely due to acidity, or it is something muscle pain, or a shortness of breath is happening. We think that it is due to old age, that I am getting fatigue. So it should not be like that. Whenever you have a symptom, visit your doctor, let them investigate, and then if you have nothing, that is reassuring for you as well as us. Next is, you have to maintain your normal healthy lifestyle. And what are those? First thing I tell my patients, stop smoking. That is very important, because this is something which is suicidal. You are yourself killing, you are killing yourself if you are smoking. So that is completely in your hand. You cannot prevent a diabetes. You cannot prevent a genetic predisposition. You cannot maybe prevent a hypertension, but you can prevent smoking. You can prevent alcoholism. You can stop those. So that is most important. Next is diet is in your hand. You can follow a healthy dietary habit. So what is the diet, patients? It is a very common question for the patients. What diet should I follow? The most important thing to follow is have more of proteins, less of carbohydrates, and less of fats. So carbohydrate, as you know, the roti, the rice, the chapatis, the wheat and rice products, they mainly constitute our carbohydrate in the diet. Fat, we all know, oils, ghee, cheese, butter, these are fat. And proteins is the best part. The egg white, the soybeans, the dals, the fish, they are proteins. So you should not restrict proteins. Take more of proteins, less of fat, and least of carbohydrates. If you can prevent your obesity or reduce your weight by few kgs, you will have reduction in your blood pressure, reduction in your blood sugar, cholesterol, and obviously that will reduce your burden of, risk of cardiovascular disease or heart attack or heart failure. So follow this lifestyle, have small frequent meals, avoid fat and carbohydrates, avoid oil as much as possible. Patients often ask, what oil should we follow? The best strategy is 50% of mustard oil and 50% of white oil. And white oil can be sunflower, safflower, olive oil, it can be rice bran oil, anything you can choose. But it's not that you will solely rely or you will solely cook with white oils. That is even more harmful. You have to blend 50% of mustard oil and 50% of white oil. That is most important. And the worst type of oil is palm oil or coconut oil, which you strictly should avoid. So along with that, you can obviously rely on certain omega-3 additional products. You can rely on certain DHAs. So these are to be discussed in details if there is an issue. Otherwise, overall, you can say that this is the healthy lifestyle you should follow. Avoid junks, avoid oils, avoid carbohydrates. And next is exercise, very important. You should do 30 to 45 minutes of exercise at least 5 days a week, and that is enough. Exercise need not be very vigorous exercise, just a rapid brisk walking, a rapid morning walk or an evening walk is good enough. So it should not be at a very low pace, but it should not be, or it need not be very strenuous also. You need not go to the gym for physical exercise. Just doing some walking or skipping or treadmills in your house is good enough. So these are the general advices. After your age is 40 years, you should do a yearly checkup, which should obviously include an ECG and echocardiogram. Every year you should do that. And once you find a cause or find something to worry about, you should investigate further, and accordingly you should treat. Now, last 1 minute I will spend on the newer modalities of therapy. There have been different newer modalities of therapy, upcoming therapies. Like we have so many new drugs for heart failure. We have so many new drugs for diabetes. We have so many new anticoagulants which can be helpful when there is an arrhythmia or a blood clotting situations. We have so many devices like the heart failure patients. There is a big hope with CRTs. CRTs are as good as pacemakers, a little more advanced pacemakers, which can be easily done. The surgeries are very less risky. They can improve your heart pumping to significant levels, and that can cure. Many of our heart failure patients are almost they have got cured with this CRT device. You have AICDs for deadly arrhythmias, which can kill a patient in few seconds. And if you have this device implanted, that can give you electric shocks, inbuilt electric shocks, and save the patient at your home. You have the artificial valves, which can be done now without without doing a open heart surgery. They are as good as balloon surgeries. So there are so many options where it is less invasive, less complicated, and you can cure the disease. And obviously the heart transplantation is coming very fast, and many successful cases are done even in our state, in our hospital, in our setup around you. There are so many hospitals who are doing cardiac transplantation. So there are so many options. And I think you can follow, you can prevent many of them also by just following some general principles. That's it. Be healthy, have proper regular follow-ups, and maintain a stress-free, healthy lifestyle. Thank you.